Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to be learning about history, and in history we're talking about Australian governments, and we're talking about the three levels of government today. Now I thought because we've talked a little bit about the federal government already, we might start with local government. So the question we're going to ask today is, what do local governments do? Okay, we're going to go through that together. Now when I say the three levels of government, I mean that in Australia we have the federal government, which is the one that's in Canberra, where we have the Prime Minister and the House of Representatives and the Senate, okay? And then we have the state governments, which are in the purple one, the one that controls the New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, Tasmania, and then we have the territories as well. And then we have local councils. Now where you can see all the yellow dots in the local councils, they are all the individual councils that look after different sorts of things. So you can see that all the different things, some of them look after a whole country, some of them look after a state, and some of them look after really specific places, like a specific section of the suburbs. And we're going to look at how each of those different governments, what they control, because sometimes a few of the things they do overlap, but most of the time what they do, they've got their own jobs that they have to do, and they've got their specific responsibilities. Sometimes it does get a bit tricky because some people like to, there's a bit of an overlap sometimes with things like health and education, but we're going to look at local councils today, so local government, okay? So when we're talking about local government look after these things: local roads, footpaths, cycleways, street signage, lighting. They look after rubbish collection, they pick up your bins. They look after parking, not all parking, but quite a lot of parking and people who come out and fine you. They're parking officers, they're from the local council. They look after parks and sports fields and swimming pools, libraries, some art galleries, some museums, some childcare centres of local council. They look after the sewerage, not a great job, town planning, building approvals, inspections, land and coast programs, and pet control. Now we're going to go through a few of those and what they mean to us as part of the Fairfield Council. Now we are part of the Fairfield Council in Adenza Park, and our local council mayor, he's the head of our local government, is a man called Frank Carboni. Now you might have seen him on the news recently. He's been on the news a lot because of the COVID outbreak in Fairfield. You might have seen him a lot, and this is the area that Fairfield looks after. The Fairfield consists of all of those suburbs within that. We're going to break that down in a sec. You can see the population of Fairfield's quite large. It says the population around 2020 was 210,000. That's quite a lot of people to be looking after in that area. Now, these are the suburbs that come under Fairfield. So you can see it goes as far as Liverpool in one direction, all the way up to Old Guildford, and then all the way across to Horsley Park and Cecil Park. That doesn't include Cecil Hills, and it doesn't include some areas. Now, some of you may actually live further away and may live under Liverpool Council, but our school is right somewhere close towards the side in the pink in Adenza Park. So all these areas all come under Fairfield Council. Now with Fairfield Council, you can see it's about 102 square kilometres. It says the largest industry is manufacturing, which has been a really big impact because of the COVID outbreak and all of the people having to stay home from manufacturing. It's had a big impact on Fairfield Council and their residents. You can see here that 27 suburbs in there, and 71% of people speak a language other than English, which is a very diverse group of people in Fairfield. Now this is what our council chambers look like in Fairfield Council, and if you need to get some stuff done, it's closed at the moment, but usually you could go in to get building approval and things like that. Now our local council looks after our rubbish. They pick up our rubbish every week or every 2 weeks or whatever you have it in your council, and they come and they take it all to the tip, and that's part of the local council's job. And when your parents pay rates at the end of every quarter or every year, they pay a service to get people to come pick up their rubbish. So we can pay for the people, because rubbish service is an essential part of our life. They also design and build lots of parks as part of our local council. That's part of their job, is building parks. Now you might have seen a lot of parks been going up in Fairfield lately. There's one behind the showground that's been going up, which has a soccer field and a lot of other things there. They're also in charge of leisure centres, so there's quite a few leisure centres in Fairfield, but one of the main ones that we know about is Prairiewood Leisure Centre, because they have Aquatopia. So that is actually run and paid for by the Fairfield Council, which is a really, really good thing to have as part of our council, and it's quite a lot cheaper than going to Wet and Wild, what's it called now? Raging Waters. So that's part of the council's job, to run those centres. Also, local roads. Now, it's going to get a little bit tricky when we get to other things, because building new roads is a state government problem, but fixing roads in your residential area is actually a local government problem. They'll come by with their trucks and they'll fix the pothole and sort of smooth it out. That's part of the local council's job. Okay, so the councils fix local roads, but they don't build new roads. Parks and fields. Now, this is a very blurry photo of Bosanjak Oval, but they're in charge of parks and fields, so making sure that all the cricket pitches are right, the soccer fields, the posts are in. They have to make sure that they mow the lawns enough. They have to make sure that the toilets and the amenities are all fixed and not so dirty, and they've got all the locks and keys for those things, so that's part of the local council's job. Opening up dog parks is part of the council thing. When I said pets there as well, registering your pet, you have to register with the council and get like a microchip put in it, so if it gets lost, or even just like if a dog's on the loose, you can call the council and they'll come and try to collect it and try to sort of look after it. So that's also part of local council's job. Some childcare centres, not all of childcare centres, but there's quite a few local childcare centres in Fairfield that are run by the local council, which are really, really useful. The libraries, all the libraries pretty much in our area are all run by the local councils. Fairfield Library, Whitlam Library, Liverpool Library, not Maryland's, that's Holroyd. But all the libraries are run by the council, which is a really great thing to have. And I haven't been there in a long time, but from what I've seen, they've got some really great stuff in some of the libraries. Community halls. Now, you might notice this community hall, it's the one behind Stocklands, and this is where they're using this hall at the moment to do a lot of the COVID vaccination programs. So this is where I got vaccinated about 2 weeks ago. And this is a really, really good thing that you can borrow. A lot of these halls are usually used and booked out for people's birthday parties or things like that, engagement parties, and you can book them. They do cost money, but not as much money as a proper big venue. So they're really, really useful. Also, building plans. If you want to put an extension on your home or even build a new house, your plans have to go into council, and the council have to look through them, and there's building inspectors, and they go through and make sure that all of your building is up to code and you're not breaking any rules, and they say yes, and then you can go ahead and build it. So those are some of the things that the local council looks after. Okay, so basically they look after local roads, they look after picking up all your rubbish, all the new swimming pools, but a lot of swimming pools, parks, all those things, libraries. They're really, really useful. Especially our local council at the moment, when you look through the paper, there's a lot of really great things happening in Fairfield Council, and so they do a really, really good job when they're sort of trying to do things for the community. And so that's local councils. Next, we're going to focus on state governments and look at what state governments and state parliament have to do and what their roles are. I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for watching.